This week's connection is with Gary. We met in Morningside Park and talked about hardship, heartbreak, and love. It was a really meaningful and deep conversation, so I hope that you enjoy it. If you like these videos, would you please comment and share, and subscribe to them on YouTube or whatever social media platform that you use so that you don't miss the new content every Tuesday and so that you don't miss your connection. This is Street Connect, a project that I started to bring more purpose and connection into New York City life. And I do that by having conversations with strangers.
What's the hardest obstacle you've had to overcome?
I feel like it's hard to define the hardest thing that I've overcome, but I'll go with the first thing that came to mind when you asked the question. I have 4 kids, and between my 3rd and 4th kids, I had a miscarriage. Actually, it was like a super hard season in my life at that point. I'm a dance teacher. They got rid of the arts program at the school that I was working at, so I essentially lost my job for the next year. My dad went to jail for some immigration stuff. And I had a miscarriage all within a couple months. I may have got bed bugs too. It was just exactly
just everything. Just all the things happening.
It was just a crazy season. And I was just how am I going to see the other side of this? And I couldn't, you know what I mean? Learning how to grieve and to process loss was really, really challenging. Because up to that point, I had never lost anybody super close to me. My parents are alive. My grandparents that I was close to were alive. And losing a life from inside my body was just oh my gosh, can I only produce death? And why is everything being taken from me? And not knowing how to get past the sadness. When I felt fine and happy, I felt guilty because I felt fine and happy. And then not knowing when I was gonna spontaneously burst into tears or start wilding out on somebody even though they didn't deserve it, because I just wasn't emotionally stable. I think when I was in it, I couldn't see the other side. And then now I'm on the other side of it. It feels real still. Of course. But it's something that happened to me, not something that I'm still in. And it's strange how things happen like that. It doesn't happen in an instant, but over time how things change and morph into being survivable. Have you ever broken someone's heart?
Yes. I mean, I definitely have. I mean, I do think to an extent we all have, but I do know that I have. There was someone who I was going out with, and while I had all the care for them in the world, I just wasn't in love with them, and I was trying to make myself get to that point. But that's one of those things about love that you don't have the control. We always try to control it, right? And love doesn't care about our control. Love has so much control that it does what it wants. And sometimes that can be hurtful, even when you don't want to hurt the person, because you do. There's always this difference between, or at least to me, there's a difference between being in love with someone and loving someone. Right. And I think that sometimes we don't really acknowledge or go into the conversation about the difference between the two, right? So that can always just make things feel a lot of grays and a lot of confrontations and a lot of issues. But it's because generally we want to be good and we want to make people happy. And when we get to the point where we don't know if we're putting someone's happiness over our own, that's where sometimes the broken hearts can be, even if it's so you're breaking your own heart because you're not able to do something. I think everyone has broken someone's heart to some extent.
Can you talk a little bit more about that?
I think it goes a little bit back to that in love and loving someone, so defining what the broken heart is. People who didn't follow the path that their parents or other loved ones wanted to take. There are some people saying that there's some broken heart in there. You're breaking my heart because you're not going the way that I expected or I wanted you to go. And Now I'm worried about you going this direction that I might not understand, or I
Right.
don't think can be as successful as just you want it to be, or you need it to be to survive.
Right.
You know, there's different ways in the decisions that we make or the ways that we feel that can break someone's heart. And I think that the expansion of thinking about it from that standpoint, it's something that needs to be considered, acknowledged, thought about, etc.
Right. Essentially, you're talking about like responsibility and awareness
Mm-hmm.
a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the impact that like we have when we place our like expectations on other people.
And also the responsibility of that relationship,
Mm-hmm.
because when you have a relationship, there is going to be some expectations and some intentions and some consequences of actions and all these types of things. The further we get into a relationship, the more intertwined what we think and what we feel
Right.
becomes.
Right.
So that's where things can get kind of crazy and scary.
Right.
I do try to consider people
Mm-hmm.
and their feelings before just making whatever decision it may be.